I was wondering if you would be able to bring in Neville today and we could talk about abundance and how to attract wealth, amongst other questions around the myths and signs of when money is coming.
Okay. So the process that I use for bringing in Neville is I first open my Akashic records, which I work inside of my own and others as a psychic medium. So I'm first going to do that. And I'm going to do a little light language in order to open my records. Okay, so my Akashic records are now open. The first thing that Neville is saying is that the ways to abundance, humans have a way of inverting things. We have a way of seeing things, or things are presented to humans often from a backwards perspective, or a way that doesn't work, or that we're looking at things all wrong or through the wrong lens. And so he's saying that we were all programmed very early on that you have to work hard, that you have to work hard to get what you want. Blood, sweat, and tears. Work, work, work. And then you will have that which you desire if you really, really work for it. And then we also have this belief that those who come in with wealth, or those who have a lot of wealth, don't work hard. So it's like there's these conflicting beliefs that we have that really end up, he's saying, wreak a lot of havoc in this area around abundance. He's specifically right now referencing money. There's a key piece here around abundance. References many things. It's money, your abundance of time, abundance of love with your relationships, all kinds of things. So abundance in general does not reference just money, but in this case, Neville is definitely talking specifically about wealth and money, financial means.
I think we just happen to use money to try to get more of those things. Get more time.
Yeah.
Get more, look good so we can attract more love.
Right. Yeah. So he's saying the first thing is you need to really look at, number one is look at what are the beliefs that you have around money, and really make a list of those so that you can really then create the counterpoint measures to those. Okay, so I'm asking him to say more about the counterpoint measure, that concept of the counterpoint measure. So
Yes.
in order to remove blocks or limiting beliefs, you need to bring in the opposite end of the pendulum swing and look at what the other aspect, or what the opposite is of it. This is tied to revisioning. So we have seen that the reason to do revisioning is that if there's an event that takes place in your life, or a memory that goes one way, the revisioning process is going into the hypnagogic state, the theta state, and creating the opposite experience, or creating the ideal scenario or moment. And then when the two of those are held in the quantum field, from there you have the 0 point field, or you have the neutrality. So he's saying the first piece around this is to make a list of all of the memories that you have that are tied to money in some way. He's saying for many people these are memories from young childhood. Someone not having money to buy school lunch, or someone wearing hand-me-down clothes that were siblings. So he's saying many of our original experiences of unworthiness are tied to financial means.
I read that revision is one of Neville's favorite tools, and I'm curious to ask him, like, why is that true, and is that true?
Yes, it's definitely true. And he's saying that we move through the world, we operate from that which we carry with us in our mind and in our baggage. He's saying essentially that every thought, belief, decision we make in the world is all based on the writing on the wall. He's saying what has already taken place. And he said it gives you a very, very narrow existence, because as soon as we start to create beliefs about something, we then look for evidence that speaks to the same belief, and so it gets more and more narrow and narrow and narrow. So he's saying you want to go back and erase everything. So he's saying ideally you have nothing that has not been revised. That the original instruction he gave us was revise the worst memories, or the ones that we considered the most trauma related. But he's saying, no, get to the point where you've revised everything to be of its highest and good.
So I have a question too. My understanding scientifically is that kids until they're like 6 or so years old are almost constantly in an alpha and theta state.
Yep.
So they're essentially mimicking everything around them, like everything that their parents are doing, they mirror. They have all these mirror neurons. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about that.
Yes.
Can I ask you, or ask Neville specifically, like, why is that the design?
Why does that exist in humanity?
Like, or is that a design? Is there like a purpose to that?
Yes. So it's that we get further and further away from source. So you're thinking of it maybe in terms of that it was by design that this time frame this happens, but he's saying it's that you came from source. So as you are walking more and more into your humanness, you're walking less away from source.
I have to ask, are there actually signs that abundance and money is coming your way? Because all these coaches have these videos that everyone's watching about that topic. Are there actually signs that a manifestation or money is coming?
So one of the things that Neville is saying is there are signs around you all day, every day. And your willingness to be open to that which is constantly surrounding you is so key. So he's laughing, saying signs that are abundance are around you, signs of everything is around you. But you have to be the one to look to see what is in front of you. He's like saying there's riddles and clues happening, flashing in front of you all day long, because everything is connected. And he's like saying, think of it as, this idea of everything is you pushed out. He's like, everything is your world. It's not somebody else's world. It's your world. So he's like, every single nuance there is connected and daisy chained together.
Like a bridge of incidents?
Yes, like the bridge of incidents. But what you were referencing was, 10 signs money is coming, and one is,
bubbles in your coffee?
Bubbles in your coffee.
A bird shatting on you?
Yeah, right.
Being pregnant?
Yeah.
Having inspired ideas?
Saying yes and no. There's abundance is richness of all things. And so that this is a big piece to this, is that the more you see evidence in front of you of the richness of things, of the abundance of things, you're headed in the right direction in your thinking. Your lens is everything. So if you're of a lower frequency, you're going to see evidence everywhere of lack and scarcity and suffering. If you are seeing signs of X, Y, and Z, it means yes, abundance is coming, because your lens, what you're seeing everywhere, is the richness.
But sometimes while you're manifesting, there'll be some rough shit happen. And sometimes, like, all the coaches and stuff will say, don't look at the 3D. That's an old seed.
As that change is happening, often the broad strokes of what are in front of you are the old, but those signs are there. No matter how much of the old is in front of you, the signs of the new you will see.
Is it like the Buddhist proverb, is that so? Where
the perhaps, yes. It is, but more so he's saying those signs are the universe being the mirror for you that you are changing, that you are in a change state. So the example of, you're
money?
Having a hard time paying your bills, but yet you do find a dollar bill. That is you getting a reflection back that more abundance is coming, but more, it's not just abundance is coming, it's that it's evidence for you that you are changing, that the lens you are seeing through, you see it in front of you everywhere.
So there's a theme here of almost like building that feeling state to get to a point of belief in order to attract things faster. Does Neville recommend any exercise or testing, like small tests, in order to prove to oneself that this is
he
evident?
said if you get into a proving loop, you've already lost.
Well, like, for example, Missy Renee, like another coach, for fun, was like, I'm going to manifest a cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. And she got like 3 people to give her cups of coffee. I'm going to see a butterfly. Neville Goddard would, remember the ladder experiment?
Yes.
Would have people say, I will not climb a ladder.
Right.
That's
so
how
he's saying, do it to get into the playful state. But if you are operating from a place of always needing proof, you are going to lose.
Well, this doesn't make sense to me, because the I will not climb a ladder technique that he came up with, he would have people say I would not climb a ladder, write on a piece of paper, and only invite them to the next meeting if they found themselves on a ladder. And then he said to them, all of you came here, you climbed a ladder. You could have just as easily manifested money.
So, okay, he's going to explain it in a different way. Wherever you put your focus is going to say what you get. So the ladder thing is amazing because it's putting you into this change state. But he said if every single day you're coming up with a new, I need proof, I need proof, I need proof, you're just always in the stage of, you're always in the frequency of I need proof. It's only as good as this last proof thing, rather than going right to the belief and to the end. So yeah, he's saying do it to see in general as your entry point into the law of assumption. But then after that, after you have that, he's saying it's similar to when he talks about digging up seeds that are planted. So he's saying once you have your few things that you've got proof on, don't then just keep being the one who needs the proof, because he's like, then you're splitting both sides.
So where did he come up with the ladder technique? Why did he do that?
He's showing me 2 buddies. I don't know. He's saying he's showing me something with 2 buddies. He's saying that at the time when he was here, things were very black and white, more black and white than aspects of our life now. And he said he also largely had to keep most of this a secret. And so when he let people, he's saying almost into the club, he had to give them something as like, he's like saying almost their price of entry, which makes sense if you're saying that he said you can't come to this unless this happened. So he used it as a, rather than trying to win people over, he used it for people to take back their own power and to see that it existed outside of him. He's saying that the ladder technique was used for people to see this isn't a Neville thing. This is a universe thing.
Who taught Neville? Who was his? When did he start realizing?
So he's showing me 2 things. One is that he had the ability to easily go into other brainwave states, that he had the ability to be a multidimensional human very easily. Similar to one of the things that I have, he's showing me that he has too, where he could easily go into other brainwave states without much trouble at all. So one of there are different, he's saying there's different ways that you can train brain entrainment around being able to move into change states very easily, but that he is one who could just easily pop back and forth the way that sometimes athletes can, he's saying, change their heart rate, intentionally thinking about it. He could change his brainwave state. And so...
And travel worlds, apparently.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so he's saying it's the equivalent of, remote viewing, astral traveling, that he was doing this regularly without any trouble at all. So he's saying, but he did not, he said, it looks like there's one or two humans that that he was connected to who had a similar experience.
Abdullah?
Of how to be human.
Apparently there was a mentor people talk about. I wonder who the other one was.
The other one was more like a colleague, almost like a buddy. It's like the way that we do this work together. Sort of, so a partner. But again, he's referenced this before with us, that he knew what he was bringing forward would be, he saw that it would take off years later, that he knew that what he was creating was, he's saying he was a scribe. So he's saying, this understanding of universal law of these truths are not his. So he often thinks it's interesting that we reference Neville. He's like, I'm not of any of this. I was simply someone communicating and presenting and sharing with the world that which I was being shown, presented. So he's referencing being a channel.
Did he ever
downloading?
Did he ever come back to other lives, or did he ascend, or?
What do you mean come back to other lives?
Well, so he died in the 70s. Has he? So technically, wouldn't he potentially still be alive somewhere right now, as a different life? So
he's laughing, saying, "You're still thinking in terms of linear time." So he's like, he's like saying, I'm in thousands of places, just as you're in thousands of places.
Those are all my questions for the day. That was great.
You don't want to get into nonlinear time right now, too?
No, I'm definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so going back, though, to the abundance piece, he just keeps showing me expansion, let going, allowing, allow. He's like, if there's anything that you want really badly, you will never get it, because you are in a state of wanting. So that is the state you will stay in, is just this angst and the state. So he's like saying, you have to clear the past, you have to clear the desires, you have to clear the wants, you have to move into the it is already done, which he's like is really a letting go. So it's a and yes, it's like he's like saying, put the fork and knife down. He's saying, like, on the plate, like, just set everything down and just know and wait and watch as he's saying the stacks come in. If you believe, if you've cleared all of those original beliefs and you believe this is what is your divine birthright, if you believe you are allowed and can have anything that you desire, the amount, the breadth to which you believe it is attached to that which you will have. So he's saying, most humans, the blocks are all the same. The blocks are unworthiness. The blocks are that you don't believe you deserve or should have these things. So he's saying those are the main themes running rampant. It's just about unworthiness. He's also explaining, and I've seen this before plenty, that right now we all are in this movement and this push of all of us really releasing all of these core wounds around unworthiness. And the reason we're doing that collectively is so that we can move and really skyrocket more into ascension. That piece around unworthiness really truly rules everything. So again, back to this playful state. He's saying the other pieces is that we have this thought that we are our own access to abundance, and that's not true. He's saying the universe is the one who provides your abundance. It's simply your job to set up the funnels to it. So he's like, as soon as you stop thinking you're the one who will create your riches and say, all I need to do is put my buckets out. He's like saying, then you'll stop feeling that heaviness of what you need to do, and you'll start to move more into the, oh yes, of course this will come to me. But he's saying you do have to be the ones to put your hands out in these different areas.
Or it's like creating a store and just saying, putting the open sign in the window. Like, here I am, come on in.
Yeah, and he's saying, when you are in the resonance of doing something you love, being of service to others, that generosity, that feeling, that creativity, that co-creating, he said those are the clearest states we as humans have when we're in our joy, when we're in our creation, when we're in our what we came here to do, our soul's divine blueprint. It is an open, energy rich experience that has the, right at the end of that, that's where that abundance comes in. So that's why you often see, and it resonates so deeply that when you're doing something you love, the money often is paired with that.
Tell people to subscribe.
I want you to say that part. I don't feel like that's my part to say. Maybe you can just say, let's close out, and if you guys are enjoying this, blah, 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 and then I'll say it.
That's fine. Thanks, Nev.
Yeah, there's he's showing everything is really attached around this letting go. He's like, let go of the beliefs, let go of the blocks, let go of the pain, let go of the memories, let go of the suffering, let go of the need for things to be certain ways, like just let go and just get bigger and bigger and bigger. And then you see everything just come and join you right where you are once you've set down all of the scaffolding of everything that's in front of you that's small and it's in the way of all of this true version of riches coming in, is once we are willing to release the small.
How important is meditation in all this, or getting into the imaginal?
He's saying it's not about meditation, it's getting into the theta brainwave state. So he's like, you can do many, many things once in the theta. So he's saying if you're referencing meditation as far as just getting quiet, he's like, nope, that's not what this is about at all. It's getting into the theta brainwave state, because you can do many, many things inside of there. He's like, there's nowhere in here is there a requirement for stillness in the way you're referencing about meditation. So theta brainwave state.
Oh, okay. I have one last question. I noticed that if I set an intention, that often in the middle of the night, I'll get like inspired, or I'll have almost like a knowing of what I need to do next, or an idea. What is that?
So there is a time frame. Let me ask Neville to be more specific about this. He said there's a time frame that starts at about almost 2 a.m. and it goes to about 5, where the veil is the thinnest for people, where the most they are the most open, the most porous, and the most available to listen to downloads of information coming from their higher selves, essentially. So he's saying that's when the truth, the clarity, the knowledge is the most. It's often a time, he's saying, when people will wake up and their emotions are just all over the place. And he said that too is just showing you, here's what needs to be worked on. Here's what's true for you. So it's not meant to be this torturous thing. It's meant to say, this is what is dying to come through. This is what is dying to be released. So yeah, he's saying anything that happens during those time frames, that is where you should be putting your focus, or at least grant it your attention. All right, well, I think that is going to be it for this channeling with Neville Goddard. And I'm just going to say goodbye and thank you to him. Okay, so I separated the two of us. And yeah, so thanks for joining us and talking about abundance and how to get it, how to keep it, how to spread it.
Subscribe to our channel, leave a comment. Woo!